Thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you very much. My honor.
Been a long 9 months.
It has been a long time. I agree.
I want to ask you about the beginning of your campaign. There had to be a moment on stage at a campaign rally or one night after a win where it occurred to you, I could actually be the president. When was that?
Well, I think the debates were really a big thing. And not to bring up an unpleasant debate, but, you know, that first debate was pretty amazing, and 24 million people watching it, a record on cable television. And I think that meant something. I think that first debate meant something because I felt very, very comfortable with the subject, and I felt very comfortable with the people I was competing against.
Let's talk a little bit about litigation, because you have threatened to sue many people in the course of the campaign. But of course, if you wind up president, you're not going to be able to do that either.
Well,
can you go 4 years without threatening to sue anybody?
Well, what China's done to us is, maybe you do the world, you do have methods of suing countries.
It's going to be a busy law firm.
No, it's going to be busy, but it's a little different. And it's also a tactic for me. It's a business for me, and I've been successful, and I've, used litigation, and sometimes I use it maybe when I shouldn't, and sometimes I don't.
Have you made any mistakes in this campaign? You had said publicly you thought the retweet about Heidi Cruz was a mistake. Let me just...
Well, I said I could have done without it, to be exact. I mean, I could have done without it.
You said a mistake. Are you walking that back?
No, I'm not walking it back, but I actually didn't say it that way. I said I could have done without it. I mean,
but it was a mistake, wasn't it? I mean, that you shouldn't have done that,
I wish
right?
I didn't do it. Although, I guess you could say she's fair game because she's very much involved with the campaign. But I don't know. She just seems like a nice woman. Well, you know what? I have millions of followers at Real Donald Trump. I have millions of followers. I have millions of
I'm familiar.
Yes, you are. The thing that gets me in trouble is retweets. Mm-hmm. The retweet is really more of a killer than the tweets. The tweets I seem to do pretty well with.
So that's one, the Heidi Cruz thing. Let me just give you a list of a couple and tell me whether you have any regrets on it.
Go ahead.
The comment about John McCain, you prefer people who weren't captured. The comment about Carly Fiorina's face. But do you regret any of those comments?
Yeah, I guess so, but you have to go forward. You make a mistake, you go forward, and you can correct the mistake. But to look back and say, gee whiz, I wish I didn't do this or that, I don't think that's good. I don't even think, in a certain way, I don't even think that's healthy.
I want to talk a little bit about your family. Your older brother, Fred Jr., was an alcoholic and died at a relatively young age. When I say his name, what does that bring up for you?
Well, he was great. He was the most handsome person. He was a really smart guy, really, really smart guy. He had everything. But at a certain age, he started drinking a little bit, a little more, and ultimately it was a big problem. And he'd say, don't ever, ever drink, and don't ever. And I'll tell you what, I've never had a glass of alcohol.
Never?
I mean, I have other problems, okay? But
what are they? Get specific.
I don't want to talk to you about that. That I can't talk about. That would be too good.
You've been divorced twice.
Yes.
Did you learn something about relationships, about love, about yourself?
Well, you have to put more into it. I put so much into my business that I didn't put enough into the relationship. And I see that, and I've learned that. I mean, I have learned that. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about that because that's the way you are. I mean, if somebody told you that you have to ease up, you can only work half the number of hours that you're working, I don't know if you'd be able to do that.
I'd give it a try.
No, but even if they said you'd have an even better relationship with your husband, I hear it's just great. But, I mean, I don't know that you'd be able to do that.
Has anyone ever hurt you emotionally?
Well, I think the big thing would be maybe the death of my brother. That was, the hardest thing for me to take. That was very tough because it's, unnatural. And he saw certain potential in me, and he would say, don't ever have a drink. Now, I don't carry it that far with people. I never had a drink. But, people can have a drink, and they can do socially. But, that can lead.
You tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like you're trying to get out of bounds on the emotional question to the subject of alcoholism, which we discussed. Has it happened that somebody has done something to you, not a death in the family, but has done something to you to wound you?
Well, I don't know. I can say this. It would be something I could certainly think about and, come back with an answer right now.
No, it's okay.
But I will say this. When I'm wounded, I go after people hard, okay? And I try and unwound myself.
Most kids between the ages of 6 and 16 have been bullied at some point in their lives. Were you ever bullied?
No, I wasn't. But I have seen bullying, and bullying doesn't have to just be as a child. I mean, I know people are bullied when they're 55 years old.
It can happen when you're 45.
It's, it happens, right? But you got to get over it. Fight back, do whatever you have to do.
Let me ask you about that, because most American parents try to raise their kids to not bully, to not name call, to not tease, not taunt. How can they effectively bring that message when the frontrunner for the Republican nomination does all of those things?
Well, I do it really, I've been saying during this whole campaign that I'm a counterpuncher. You understand that. I'm responding. Now, I then respond times maybe 10. I don't know. I mean, I respond pretty strongly. But in just about all cases, I've been responding to what they did to me. So it's not a one-way street.
Let's talk about us.
Okay.
Let's talk about us.
Okay.
We were always friendly.
Right. Good relationship.
Right? And then came the August 6, 2015 debate, and I asked you a tough question about women, using only the words that you had used. I thought it was a fair question. Why didn't you?
I thought it was unfair. First of all, I didn't think it was really a question. I thought it was more of a statement. That's the first question that I've ever been asked during a debate, and I've never debated before. I mean, my whole life is a debate, but I've never actually debated before. And I'm saying to myself, man, what a question. And then, of course, then you have Brett doing his thing, so I'm saying to myself, I got 2 hours of this. I don't really blame you because you're doing your thing, but from my standpoint, I don't have to like it.
Afterward, you said you didn't feel that the moderators had been nice. But do you think it's the journalist's role to be nice to presidential candidates at a debate?
No, fair. I don't care if they're nice. They have to
You
be
use the
fair.
word nice.
Well, okay. No, I don't think so. I mean, I might have said they weren't nice, but that doesn't mean they have to be nice. I mean, I've known many...
You know, it's not a cocktail party.
No. I tell you what, in a certain way, what you did might have been a favor because I felt so good about having gotten through. I said, if I can get through this debate with those questions, you can get through anything.
You seemed to stay angry for months.
Yeah.
Was that real or was that strategy?
Well, I'm a real person. I don't say, oh, gee, I'm angry tonight, but tomorrow you're my best friend. See, I do have a theory that, when somebody does it, and this could happen again with us. I mean, it could be even doing this particular interview. I have great respect for you that you were able to call me and say, let's get together and let's talk. To me, I would not have done that. I don't say that as as a positive. I think it's a negative for me. And you walk into Trump Tower, we didn't have like on a neutral site or over at Fox or something. That would be a whole different thing, and I wouldn't have done it.
I think the doormen are still recovering.
I think the whole building's recovering. You have people going like, this can't be possible, right?
And this is the first you and I have ever discussed what happened between us over the past 9 months, because you and I did not talk about that.
We didn't discuss it. No, we didn't discuss it.
So when you look back on the past 9 months from that first debate to now, any regrets?
Absolutely, I have regrets. I don't think I want to discuss what the regrets are, but absolutely, I could have done certain things differently. I could have maybe used different language in a couple of instances. But overall, I have to be very happy with the outcome. And I think if I didn't conduct myself in the way I've done it, I don't think I would have been successful, actually. If I were soft, if I were, presidential, okay, presidential. In a way, it's a bad word because there's nothing wrong with being presidential. But if I would not have fought back the way I fought back, I don't think I would have been successful.
You're no longer just Donald Trump, businessman, or Donald Trump, host of Celebrity Apprentice. Now you're steps away from the presidency. Have you given any thought in this position to the power that your messaging has on the lives of the people you target and on the millions of people who take their cue from you?
I have. And I see suffering. I mean, I see tremendous suffering, and I understand it. I have a very big heart. A lot of people don't understand that, but people that know me do. And we have to take care of our country. And I do feel America first. I mean, America has been 4th and 5th and 9th. I mean,
well, you know what I'm saying. When Donald Trump targets somebody and says, this person is bad, that person is bad, it creates a firestorm in those people's lives. And many of these people are so-called civilians who haven't put themselves out there as public figures.
But it's in response to something that they did, or it's in response to
you are so powerful. You are so powerful now.
I don't view myself as that. I mean, I view myself as a person that, like everybody else, is fighting for survival. That's all I view myself as. And I really view myself now as somewhat of a messenger. You know, this is a massive thing that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
These are millions and millions of people that have been disenfranchised from this country. I was in front of a group the other day, at least 25,000 people. The place was going crazy. And I said, I'm like the messenger.
It's true, but they're listening to you, and they're taking their cue from you. So that's the question: is whether now, so close to the Oval Office, whether you will take that responsibility seriously and change your tone to try to be more unifying and less divisive.
I do take it very seriously, and I understand what's going on. And when I see the fervor, when I see 25,000 people that have seats, and not one person during an hour speech will sit down. I say, sit down, everybody, sit down, and they don't sit down. They refuse to sit down. I mean, that's a great compliment. But I do understand the power of the message. There's no question about it.
I want to talk for a minute about the tweeting.
Okay?
Set the scene for me, because I know where I was when I was on the receiving end of a lot of those tweets, but I have always wondered where you were. I'm picturing like a crushed velvet smoking jacket, you know, chaise lounge, slippers.
Maybe not as fancy as that. Maybe probably a lot less.
Walk us through it. You said it's you if it's past 7 in the evening.
This weekend, I picked up 114,000 people.
But what do you do? Do you pick up your iPhone and actually
Yes.
tweet yourself?
Usually after 7 or 8 o'clock, I'll do it myself. But during the day, if I'm in the office, I have a number of people that I'll just call out a tweet to. It's always my writing.
You call out exclamation point.
I'd say exclamation point. I do
Sad.
that. You know me well. No, I'll say exclamation point. Like
I'm
Michelle.
familiar.
So they'll type it out for me real fast, bring it in. I'll be in a meeting, blah, 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 boom, put an exclamation point here, and I'll send it in. So I don't do the physical. Now, after like 7 or 8 o'clock, if I'm home, I'll do it myself. And I have fans, you probably learned, and I didn't do this for this reason, but when you and I were having our little difficulty, you probably had some pretty nasty tweets sent your way. I don't want to say, but I've heard that. I don't want that to happen, but I have fans, they really love, we have an unbelievable bond, we have an unbelievable
You retweet some of those. It's not just the fans.
Yeah, but not the more nasty ones. You would be amazed at the ones I don't retweet.
Bimbo?
Well, there was a retweet, yeah. Did I say that?
Many times.
Ooh, okay. Excuse me.
What do you think
Not the most horrible thing, again, politically, not the most. Over your life, Megyn, you've been called a lot worse. Is that right? Wouldn't you say? You've had a life that's not been that easy. And
it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the
I
messaging
understand that.
to young girls and to
But again,
other women.
it's a certain amount of fighting back. It's a modern day form of fighting back. I mean, it really is. But
you going to stop that as president?
well, I'm going to stop it about you now because I think I like our relationship right now. So I'm certainly not going to do it with you. Yeah, I think
Now
so.
you have my cell
I will
phone
say
number.
this.
That is actually
I
much
did.
more efficient.
You gave me your cell phone number.
And you promised you would not use it for evil.
I don't know. I promise. You'll never see that. You'll never see that.
If you don't become president, will this all have been for nothing? Or will you have changed America?
So I got a call from a great writer who said to me, congratulations. I said, congratulations on what? He said, what you have done has never been done before. I said, what have I done? And he talked about different things. I said, well, unless I win, I can't do the changes. I can't make America great again. I can't lower taxes and make our military strong and get along with other nations, frankly, that we don't get along with right now, but do better with them, so they're not ripping us off like they all are. But I said, unless I win, I can't do that. He said, no, you're wrong. What you have done has never been done before, and it'll go down in history. And I appreciate, and I don't want to really talk about it because in case it doesn't work out, I guess I'd rather have that narrative. But I will say this, if I don't go all the way and if I don't win, I will consider it to be a total and complete waste of time, energy, and money.
Mr. Trump, thank you
Thank you very much.
It's been fascinating.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Megyn.
Let's have some fun.
Go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask you rapid fire questions about Donald Trump. Number 1, favorite movie?
Citizen Kane.
Favorite book, other than the Bible or The Art of the Deal?
All Quiet on the Western Front.
What was the last book you read? Do you get any time to read?
No, it's so long because Now I read passages, I read areas, I'll read chapters. I don't have the time. You know, when was the last time I watched a baseball game? I'm watching you all the time, okay?
I knew it.
I'm watching O'Reilly all the time. I'm
Come on,
watching Hannity.
Be honest.
I'm watching. I have to.
You didn't really boycott.
A little bit, not as much as I want people to believe. But I don't have the time. I would love to sit down and read a book, but I just don't have the time anymore.